What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is moving it and what shorts are up to. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 0.44%, nothing overly crazy. 502 the high, 481 the low. So first thing, it did get dragged down. Luckily enough, it is kind of moving alongside much of the greater market and really moving higher. Even though there hasn't been that much in news from NIO, no speculative topics. It has been a while since I've done a NIO video, so it's been a week. So I did a quick trip in and out. So obviously in that time frame, there was a couple of things such as a recall and various things. But all in all, I think NIO is holding up very well. I know a lot of people are kind of complaining about NIO still being sub $5, but given the level of manipulation, and I'm going to be talking about one thing that kind of came out that is very much blatant manipulation, but I think just NIO is doing fairly well. Today we're seeing somewhat lower volumes, so 24.7 million shares being traded. So that's been kind of the common scenario over the last several trading days. Aside from all of that fun stuff, there really hasn't been that much in macro data that is going to help Chinese EVs. There was one thing, so articles coming out saying that China and the States are kind of negotiating. China is going to be visiting the States sometime later this year, so that's kind of a good thing. But for right now, they are still negotiating some type of truce. And we've seen that in the past where it's like a 90-day pause. So we haven't really seen that much back and forth between China and the States, so this is a fairly good thing. Aside from that, I think the next big thing for NIO is them announcing the true date of their earnings. So on the 5th, they did submit this, just a announcement or the profit alert. And in here, they kind of just mentioned that they will be announcing the date of their earnings soon. But yeah, so most likely we'll probably get that mid next week, I would assume, if not late next week. Next week, on a side note, is a shorter week, so Monday the market is closed, so don't be surprised if you see some extra volatility near the second half of today. But when it came down to manipulation, this right here is definitely takes a cake. So Pentagon did say that NIO is aiding Chinese military, so this is kind of the thing right here. It was quickly removed. I don't know if that means it was done in error or if they're just trying to kind of hide it in some capacity, but nonetheless, this is just one of many things that shows that there's manipulation happening behind the scenes with NIO. But institutions at the same time are buying, so the latest 13Fs coming down the pipeline shows institutions loading the boat. So you had Morgan Stanley, 15.2 million shares. So that was disclosed as of today. That also could be one attributing factor why NIO is kind of moving up a little bit. But still, if you kind of look here, a lot of these institutions were increasing their position. One thing to take notice of, though, is all these 13Fs are transactions that did occur in Q4. So it's at the end of Q4. This is kind of how things ended, not like Morgan Stanley buying today, on a side note. So just kind of be aware of that. I see some posts online saying Morgan Stanley bought, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of, it's good information, but it's delayed. So do with that information what you will. Like I kind of mentioned, it's been a while since I've done a NIO video. Shorts surprisingly have been returning. Nothing like crazy, but they have been returning. So last time I did a video, short interest was like 8%. And right now it's 7.02%. Works out to be 143.11 million shares overall are being shorted. Shorts at the time of doing this video are increasing 355,000 shares. If NIO does get close to that $5 range by the end of today, anticipate shorts to really double down and have it close below 5. This is exactly the same thing that I did mention last Friday, and conveniently it played out exactly how I mentioned. Shorts increased just to kind of suppress it, because popping over here, looking at the open interest, right now there is 16,000 at the 5. Market makers and shorts don't want NIO to close above 5. They'd rather have that 16,000 expire worthless. So again, not the first time that we've seen this level of manipulation, but today we're seeing about 1.9 million in calls, 225,000 in puts, 47% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. So kind of interesting to analyze this information, although it is rather low. So it does match with the common stock, just lower volume. Today on the secondary market, we have one buy, one sell. The buy is for 426,000. The sell is for 380. So nothing significant. Dark pool seems to be a little bit more active. So this is more linked to shorts. You do see a couple hold numbers like such as 50,000, 30,000, numerous 30,000s. A lot of that is going to be hedge funds. With it right now at 498. It is trading between this R1 and this pivot. So 488 is going to be a strong support, and then 520 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. In between there is going to be that $5 range. That's going to be a key pivot as well, based on the options, as what I kind of mentioned. Aside from all of that fun stuff, quickly popping back over to the chart itself, right now it is still above the 10 and also 50-day moving average. So like I mentioned, NIO is still doing very well. We've seen many times in the past shorts really hit NIO just to break it based on the technicals, but right now it did bounce off of that 10-day moving average, so that white line right there, and is still above that 50. So overall doing fairly well in my opinion. Aside from that, looking at the market position, you see a lot more willing buyers today. And so, yeah, all NIO needs is that nice gentle push, especially above that 518, conveniently roughly around that 200-day moving average. And then you could see a very nice push higher. So I think overall NIO, it's a very frustrating stock. I've mentioned this time and time again, but overall, once it does actually hit profitability, a couple of quarters of that, shorts are just gonna F off, and then institutions will be loading the boat. And this is where you'll see it go higher, and ideally out of penny stock status. So that $5 range, anything below $5 is considered a penny stock. And so that usually adds a certain level of restrictions on institutions. But let me know your viewpoint on NIO. Are you buying? Are you selling? What's your kind of general thoughts? Since my last video, we did have one rating that came out from JP Morgan that was on February the 8th, and that was a downgrade $7 buy, so from 8 to 7. This is kind of what they've done in the past, so jumping all over the place, so from $4.80 to $8 down to 7, but still, considering they're giving $7 as a price target and we're sitting at roughly $5, definitely a lot more upside. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily, day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.